I might actually agree with Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yes, you're reading the title correctly. I might agree with Black Lives Matter. And let me get into it. Let me tell you the story here. It all revolves around the news cycle that we are all finding ourselves in these days, where Joe Biden has decided he's not running for re-election, and everybody has just turned their support over to Kamala Harris. But many are saying, hold up, wait a minute, we did not ask for this woman to be president. In fact, Kamala Harris tried to run for president not too long ago, and nobody wanted her there. So how is it the left is collectively dealing with a woman who they really don't like being the next presidential nominee, essentially? And Black Lives Matter decided to call this out in a recent tweet. Let's read it. So Black Lives Matter was actually responding to the Democrats. The Democrats tweeted out, quote, "I have decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. It's the best way to unite the nation," end quote. This, of course, coming from President Joe Biden. And they said, "Thank you, President Joe Biden, for your service." Black Lives Matter decided to quote tweet that and said, "Kamala was selected, not elected. But the solution is simple. Join us in calling on the Democrats to let the American people vote in an informal virtual primary, an online vote, ASAP, so our communities can weigh in on this unprecedented moment. Democracy demands no less. Sign our petition to the DNC." And it links to a website where they are, of course, calling for this now virtual voting process in order to pick the Democrat nominee. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not on board of just sending over an online election for the Democrats to just do whatever it is they're going to do with that. They seemingly have a tricky history with anything that has to do with electronics and elections, at least in my opinion. But Black Lives Matter is onto something. Why is it that all of a sudden Kamala Harris is the girl? She's that girl. She's brat, according to Charlie XCX, and she's the one who just gets ushered in to be the nominee in this next election. It's not making sense. And they pointed this out further in another tweet. Let's read it. It says, "President Joe Biden today. I'm dropping out of the presidential race to defend democracy. We must unite to protect democracy. Nothing should stand in the way of saving our democracy. In a democracy, the people, not kings or dictators, rule." They then go on to say, today in a smoke-filled room, quote, "We will create an open, fair, inclusive, and transparent process to select the next Democratic nominee. However, the American people will not get a chance to vote for the Democratic nominee and their VP. DNC party bosses will vote instead of the American people. While a virtual primary for the American people isn't possible, we will make it possible for the DNC party bosses to vote virtually. But none of that really matters because nearly 2,000 DNC party bosses have already told the Associated Press that they are committed to Kamala Harris and her unknown VP as the Democratic nominee. So Harris already won the open, fair, inclusive, and transparent process, which is really just for show." Uh-oh. The veil is lifted. And once it is fully lifted, it's going to reveal a wicked history of the Democratic Party doing this, not once, not twice, but a third time to Democrats. Are you guys gonna stand for this? It seems like even Black Lives Matter, an organization that I have many, many problems with, is realizing that there's something going on here, and it's something that's not right. And before we go any further, talking about why I largely agree with Black Lives Matter on this, which I can't believe I'm saying, let's talk about the two other instances in which the Democratic Party has done almost exactly this. Michael Schellenberger provided the history in this tweet. He writes, "The first time this occurred was in 2016 when the Democratic National Committee manipulated money and process to help Hillary Clinton defeat Bernie Sanders." You'll remember Bernie Sanders was quite a popular politician at the time, and a grassroots one at that. His campaign was largely funded by donations from the American people, and small donations at that. Yet, the Democratic National Committee decided that Hillary Clinton was the girl, and that they were going to do whatever was necessary to make sure that that was the case. He goes on to say the second time was in 2020 when party elites pushed out Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar so Elizabeth Warren could split the progressive vote with Sanders, creating a path to victory for Biden. So they were pulling the strings in 2016, pulling the strings in 2020, and now they've pulled the strings yet again. Do you think Biden actually thought he was going to stick in this race, and at the last minute he decided he was no longer able to run for re-election? No, I think they planned this out with perfect timing to just swap the reins over to Kamala Harris, and now here you are, Democrats, dealing with somebody who you didn't ask for as your nominee. And I can't stress this enough. If Black Lives Matter is realizing this, Who else is going to realize this? Black Lives Matter, you would have thought, would be an organization that would back Kamala Harris till the day she went out. Kamala Harris is effectively a DEI hire. She's been called Mamala of the country. She's doing skits where she says she's out here in these streets for Black Entertainment Television Awards.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality.
You would think Black Lives Matter would be backing the supposed Black woman that could be the first Black female president in American history. But no, they've decided that they've been tricked and they want somebody to be held accountable for it. And I can't help but think that this is going to be the experience of so many others in the Democratic Party as they realize that they've had their candidate chosen for them. And again, I'll say this is a candidate who went through a presidential election cycle and was pushed to the side and wasn't wanted. So yeah, today's video is not to back Black Lives Matter as an organization. You guys know I have a long history with that organization, but I can say it's one of the first times in a long time that I've looked down at this Black Power fist that I got tattooed when I was 16 for its association with Black Lives Matter, and I haven't been so ashamed based on this take that they posted about this election. I still have questions for Black Lives Matter, like what have you actually done for Black lives or any of the families that you're using to quote say their names, and I'm wondering where all the money was that you guys received in donations, but I guess it's not going to the Kamala Harris campaign, so that's good, but where is it though? Seriously. And just a general question that this sort of news has generated in my mind, will the left sort of eat itself alive in this next election cycle? And maybe rightfully so. I can't imagine what I would do if I felt like the system was utterly failing me, especially when it's the system that exists within my own party that is actively manipulating me into supporting a candidate that I did not choose. And the left is seemingly unhappy for many more reasons than that. When you look at Kamala Harris, she's a former prosecutor. The whole back the blue thing isn't exactly so popular amongst leftists. I'm sure Black Lives Matter has many an issue with Kamala Harris's record as a former prosecutor. I'm also seeing many on the left say that they are unwilling to support somebody who they feel is complicit in a genocide with everything that's happening in the Middle East. What are they going to do there? The natural solution, it seems for many, is just to abstain from voting. Stay home. Don't participate in the system you can't support. But what does that mean for the election outcome? Typically, you'd see people on the left saying it's the lesser of two evils. We must get out there. We must participate. And I'm seeing a few who are echoing that message, but not many who are actively falling for it or who are actively convinced by it. So will this trick that the Democrats are pulling to usher in their next candidate actually backfire on them and result in people leaving the Democratic Party? Maybe, just maybe, especially if we're seeing an account like Black Lives Matter tweeting this sort of stuff out. They have for a long time supported the Democratic Party no matter what. And it seems like people are starting to wake up. And when they do, and they actually investigate the Democratic Party, they're going to find so much more than what's happened in this recent election cycle. Trust, you will find so much more. And this channel will be here if you ever want to sit down and talk about it. So yeah, guys, it's been a crazy ride. We've had witch hunts and kangaroo courts, assassination attempts, Biden dropping out, Kamala Harris being ushered in, and now I'm sitting here somewhat agreeing with something that is said by Black Lives Matter. Each day is a brand new day, as they say. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject matter. Drop them in the comments down below. As always, I encourage healthy debate, so if you disagree with anything said in this video, duke it out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every single day, and I will see you next time. I get shocked more and more each day, guys. And here we are. See you next time.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.